Hi, it's a pleasure for me to have here today June Sugiyama. She is the director of Vodafone Americas Foundation. June, it's always a pleasure to talk to you and to work with you and your team. He's so supportive of not only us but organizations that work on this space. And I would love to start there. Actually, why do you believe that it is important for corporations to engage and talk about ending violence against women?
Well, it's a pleasure to be here and speak to you always. Why is it important? Well, first of all, I think corporations, especially a corporation like ours, has the global access to both their clientele as well as their own employees.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important for, first of all, their own employees to be safe and happy. And then second of all, if they can do something to make the world a better place by spreading the message about, taking care of our friends and family, should they be in a domestic violence situation, and we can do something about that, I think corporations should be involved.
I'm glad that you bring employees. I think a lot of the times that we talk about this, we think the role that companies have outside of their group. Can you talk us at least about one thing Vodafone has done for their employees?
Well, first of all, something very simple to be able to talk about domestic violence. Domestic violence is often a taboo subject and people don't want to talk about it. Yet, for example, breast cancer is 1 in 5 women, and you hear people talking about it all the time. Their neighbor is going through chemo, or their friend has it, or some family member. But you don't hear about people talk about domestic violence when it's 1 in 4, going to 1 in 3, I believe. And so, first of all, talking about it, doing employee training programs. And as you know, we've launched the domestic violence app called Bright Sky. And that's been the impetus for us to talk about domestic violence even more with our employees.
And I'll come back to that. But can you tell us, I know it's not only, Bright Sky, but a whole array of initiatives that Vodafone Foundation has. Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Well, first of all, when it comes to domestic violence, we've done a couple of researches on domestic violence. Also, we provide days off to our own employees who are experiencing family issues. Just the fact that this isn't just with our headquarters, but it's with as many of our companies worldwide as possible, that we talk about this, and also that we've launched this app.
And I think another thing that I have always admired from Vodafone in this space is brand presence.
Oh, yeah.
The brand is present when we're talking about, it's not uncommon to see you, your team, the global team also involved.
So it's really incredible what just the brand can do, and it brings in clout. And so I think people feel that if they see the brand, that it's trustworthy. And so, we're in several places all over Europe, and whether we have the brand or not in other countries like the US or even in Asia, people hear about that. And so when there is an app, or when there is some kind of program associated with our brand, people listen. And I think that's why it's really important to get the brand out there.
Now let's talk a little bit about Bright Sky.
Okay.
Let's get to the topic. Can you tell anybody who has never heard about Bright Sky what it is, and how can they access it?
So Bright Sky is an app that was created by Vodafone together with several other companies and nonprofits to tackle domestic violence. And so far, we've launched that app in 13 countries. And here in the United States, where I'm located, we're the 13th country. It's been translated in several languages, in local languages. And it's not an emergency app. It's an app to kind of evaluate where you are. It's for friends, families, colleagues, and the survivor themselves to be able to kind of just to see where they're at, what kind of action should they take, or should they even take action? And so I think the ease of this app is that it's for everyone. And TBD to other countries that will probably launch that app and become more accessible to people.
Does it, maybe statistically it doesn't, but does it surprise you how many people go and download Bright Sky globally?
Yeah, it's very surprising. Here in the United States, I think it's like 167,000 people. We feel that it's been quite successful. But like I say, like I mentioned, it's 1 in 4 going to 1 in 3 people, especially women, who suffer domestic violence. So we don't really know if the person who you work with or who you go out to dinner with is actually suffering from domestic violence. So in that sense, it's not surprising, but it is surprising that people are keeping quiet and then it's coming to surface and that many people have downloaded it.
It's also important to say that in terms of prevention, like there are so many ways that prevention can be executed, right? And I remember the early conversations around apps we're not going to be downloaded because people can go to web pages. But actually, people look for information in different ways or what they're getting used to.
Well, first of all, Vodafone is a global technology / telecommunications company. So we really believe in mobile.
Yeah.
And, it's incredible now what you can do through your phone. And so why not provide it through an app where people have it handy, where, anyone can access it. And so, yes, it is available on the web, but it's also available in another form, accessible form, what people use on a daily basis.
Yeah. No, absolutely amazing work. It's groundbreaking, the number of countries and your kind of global download. And we will put resources here for people to find Bright Sky and also what countries it is available, because people seeing us might be from countries where Bright Sky is also available.
Yeah. So in that sense, you would think that something like domestic violence is different from country to country. But unfortunately, the suffering is the same in any country. And to be able to, like you say, provide prevention is great. And it's very it's suitable for us, for Vodafone, because we're a global company and we have access to different countries, and to make it available for different people is kind of like a no-brainer for us.
It is, and it's very difficult for any NGO to be able to put a product like that in the hands of so many, and this is where I think private partnerships really can make a difference. And so we excite anybody who's seeing us to think bold if they're in a company who's thinking about doing this kind of thing.
So if I can speak a little bit on that, you just talked about partnership. So I mentioned we're in 13 countries. So with every country, how we went about launching it is quite different. So in one country, it may be a partnership with like an NGO, like you mentioned, or with local nonprofits. In another country, it could be a partnership with a government. And in another country, it could be a partnership with all corporations. And here in the United States, I'm proud to say it's a coalition of nonprofits, companies, and the technical companies who help create it too. So I think it's really neat that it's very flexible in how it operates in different countries. And, myself, who's experienced here with how we launched it in the United States, I think it's a very unique format that we launched it, and we're very proud of it. Yeah.
Yes. It's this idea that we shouldn't have a blueprint that is executed the same way everywhere, right?
I think we can't launch it if it's a blueprint in a formal template. I think the fact that it's been working is that we've been flexible who our partners are.
And to kind of start wrapping it up, today we're obviously celebrating the Day of the Elimination of Violence Against Women. So, in terms of taking action, anybody seeing us, what action can they take today to, be more aware or do something for this cause?
Well, several ways. First of all, if you are part of the leadership of a corporation or a company, take a look at us and see if you can partner with us and perhaps take on Bright Sky. And then if you're an individual, download the app and see what it is that you can do for your friend, colleague, or family member. So I think taking action, those are the two things. And then lastly, the third thing, very, very simple, is to familiarize yourself with domestic violence and then start talking about it.
I think that's crucial. June, thank you very much for your help, for your grace. It's a pleasure to have had you here today.
It's a pleasure. As always, thank you, Pam.